I don't understand how Pokemon Sun and Moon can be data mined, and yet there is still so much more hype that can be delivered. Like, maybe they're data mining, they put the Pokédex out there just to satisfy everybody, and then we just get all these new stuff. Like, it's like we have features, we have Pokemon, we have typing that we do not know. The only thing that was leaked was the Pokédex, but no information beyond that was leaked. Like, we don't know the typing of everything. So, if that's the case, then maybe that was a tactical play by Game Freak. Maybe they purposely left that in just to satiate everybody looking for every bit of data they can get. But they really didn't leave everything. Maybe Game Freak got us. Well, got everybody who wanted to see the leaks. Personally, I haven't seen them yet. I willingly said no, I didn't want to see them because I'm just somebody who likes surprise. But at the same time, they are going in with these Pokemon Sun and Moon news videos. Every 2 weeks releasing something new. But you know what? With less than 3 weeks until Pokemon Sun and Moon, we might not be getting anything else. But today, we got some big stuff. We got the legendary Pokemon from every single island confirmed, going along the same line as Tapu Koko, my inner warrior self, in case you guys don't know about that. But most importantly, well, we also got 2 new Pokemon in Cosmog and Alolan Persian that we already knew about. But most importantly, we got the final evolutions to the starter Pokemon. Now, y'all already know I'm a big Rowlet guy. However, Litten has changed in my opinion, and Popplio, who I thought was adorable, has kind of fallen to the wayside. I'm sorry to everybody who thinks Popplio is adorable. I'm not one of those people. But Litten and Rowlet's final evos, yo, they are looking pretty sick, and I don't know which one I want to get. I might do one for a personal playthrough and one for the YouTube playthrough. I don't know, but we're going to talk about everything. I got all the information I can dig up about all the Pokemon that was released today, and I'm going to be having another video where I talk about the new features that were released. And all I'm saying is, if you guys loved First Gen, if y'all know the legendary battle trainers and you haven't seen that video yet, then you are going to love that video when I get to it. But for now, let's get into these evolutions. Alright, so my boy Rowlet. First of all, the Chinese leaks were real. Holy crap, we knew about these starters 6 months ago. I cannot believe it. That's one of the few times where a leak comes out and is actually true. I'm a heavy skeptic. I don't go by leaks, but you know what? This one was accurate. All of these final evolution starters were accurate. Wild. But yo, I don't know how to pronounce this one. You can either pronounce it Decidueye or Decidueye. I'm going to say Decidueye because it just rolls off the tongue better. But Decidueye, the final evolution of Rowlet, who is a grass flying type, comes out of left field, comes from beyond the forest, the shadows of illusion. It comes out being a grass ghost type. What the hell kind of, what, from where? From where? I don't mind. I get the idea behind it because it's saying that the Decidueye can disguise itself in the forest and it can't be seen, and then when it gets out his opponent's eye, then it strikes them with cutthroat precision. That's kind of wild. So I get that. Maybe the whole fighting style of Dartrix and Decidueye is what made it be a ghost type. Like, it had ghost type quality so much that it just became one. I'm fine with it. But from grass flying to grass ghost, no one, I don't give a damn what you say. If you tell me you saw that coming, if you tell me you knew that it was going to become grass ghost from grass flying, I'm calling you a liar. I'm calling you a flat liar. You can't prove nothing to me. Grass flying type. Decidueye is kind of that dude, and I love it. Decidueye also gets a signature move. They all get signature moves, but Decidueye is a ghost type physical move called Spirit Shackles. It's a damaging move that's pretty much mean look. It prevents your opponent from running away. Now, the only thing I can think of to make this move better is if it had pursuit qualities. As if, like, okay, like I said, the Decidueye haunts its opponents in the forest. Then when it gets out of sight, it tackles them. But what if it saw the opponent trying to escape? So he said, nah, son, you trying to escape? Get caught in my spirit shackles. You ain't going nowhere, and you took damage. Now, I understand that might be a little broken in the meta. I definitely understand that. But it also means that it also could work against your opponent. So let's say you send in Decidueye up against a Vaporeon or something like that. Now they have two choices. They can take a grass type attack. It might be Leaf Blade. It might be Bullet Seed or something like that. Who knows? I don't think he's going to get Leaf Blade because he doesn't seem to be using any like weapons like that. So I wonder what kind of grass type attacks he'll get outside of I mean, a Seed Bomb. I can see Seed Bomb. I don't know. That's interesting. I'm gonna think about that one actually. But what is it? Imagine that. So then your opponent has the two choices between dropping the Ice Beam and just getting hit with the super effective damage, or try to swap out and get caught by Spirit Shackles. It's like a mind game at that point, and there's nothing wrong with mind games. So if they're willing to improve it, give it pursuit qualities, and then it's perfect to me. But still, it prevents your opponents from doing damage. Nobody knows the base power yet. I can't imagine it would be that strong. Because it's kind of like giving Nuzzle paralysis as well. Like, it's like base 20. Although it did do a lot of damage when it was shown in the trailer. So I don't know about that. It might be a little strong. Maybe like base 40, base 60, somewhere in there. I can't imagine it being like an actual strong move though, like a 90 or whatever. But still, Spirit Shackles for Decidueye looking pretty decent. And again, my boys are Ghost type. That means that he's the third Pokemon, I believe third Pokemon, to have this typing following, in the evolutionary line. I'm not counting like Phantump and then Trevenant and then Gourgeist, Pumpkaboo and then Gourgeist, I'm talking about like final evolutions. I think he's the third Pokemon to really have that. So that's decent as well, being a Ghost Grass type. It does have a good amount of weaknesses, but most importantly, has a strong amount of resistances. And he loses the Quad 4 weakness to Ice, so that's great. He loses the weakness to Rock. Now it's only neutral. I mean, he gains a weakness to Ghost and whatnot. But still, like, we don't worry about the weakness. We worry about the strength. And this Pokemon is going to be fast. He's going to be hitting hard. He's going to be a really technical Pokemon. And I'm going to love him. I just don't know if I'm going to be using him for my playthrough or if I'm going to be using it for my personal playthrough. Or YouTube or personal playthrough. I don't know. But Decidueye is that dude. Now, Litten's final evolution after Torracat is named Incineroar. Now, I'm assuming it's Incineroar because like Incinerate. But, instead of Incinerate, it's Warring, so Incineroar. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's one of the simplest Pokemon names you can have out there. But, Incineroar is a fire, dark type Pokemon. Thank you not only for a unique fire starter type combination, but also for the fact that all the people who were crying saying, "It's going to be fighting, it's going to be fighting," they can shut up. Shut up. Thank you for finally getting what you want. Now stop crying and enjoy the Pokemon. This Pokemon is a big, bulky dude. Everyone's saying he looks like a Luchador, but I don't see a Luchador. I see like... As a matter of fact, the category for this Pokemon is the heel Pokemon. For those of you guys who do not watch wrestling at all, there are two terms for what a character is aligned with. Similar to good and evil, you have face and heel. Face being the good guy, or babyface being the good guy, and heel being the bad guy. And this is the heel Pokemon. He's also a dark type. So in other words, he's a bad guy in WWE standards. Like, can we get a Incineroar crossover with Pokemon Sun and Moon? Like, with WWE, can we get that, please? That'd be great. But Incineroar looking kind of sort of mighty fine, being a heel type Pokemon, 5'11" fire dark type with the ability of Blaze. And similar to Decidueye, he also gets a signature move in the Darkest Lariat. Strong move, physical dark type attack that ignores stat changes. Now, that'd be nice, but seeing as how Iron Defense isn't really used, the worst thing that you would have to deal with is probably like a Curse Lax, but I don't really, I don't know, I can't really see that one being really efficient. So it's like, to me, like, cause it's a physical dark type attack, so it's gonna be hitting on the physical side. And no one really uses Iron Defense. They use stats to increase their own offensive moves, not defensive stats. Unless you're using Quiver Dance or something like that. Curse is also another exception, but it doesn't really be that. It's not that strong to me, in my opinion. But I mean, I can see it having a good amount of base power, probably like base 90, base 100 even, and it's a signature move. So I mean, the animation for it is even decent, and I love the Pokédex entry for this Pokemon. It loves being cheered on. Like, it loves it when the crowd is watching it, but if the crowd is dead, then he's not going to care. And if he's fighting an injured or a weak Pokemon, he's not going to care as well. Although the Pokédex entry says that it sometimes gets taken advantage of as a result. So in other words, you could probably see a Bounce Sweet end up beating his thing. Like, oh, it's a weak Pokemon. And then Bounce Sweet like gets that little look in his eyes, pushes his glasses, and drops an Earth Power. Who knows? So you gotta be on your toes with this one. But I like Incineroar. The Pokemon is decent. The design is fantastic. That flame belt is phenomenal. And you know what? I am looking forward to seeing in the anime Machamp versus Incineroar. Even though by typing we know that Machamp will win, It's just the fact of two similar Pokemon with belts on them, a power belt to regulate power and a flame belt to regulate fire in the term of Incineroar. Those two just going at it, two big body Pokemon, it'd be great. The stats of this Pokemon, he has to be offensive. Like straight up, no nonsense, offensive. I don't want it, don't at me, I don't care, he's offensive. Now the speed, I can see him being like base 85, maybe 90, because I mean wrestlers gotta have a fair amount of speed to them, unless you're somebody like Brock Lesnar where you could just stand there and just suplex everybody. But I mean, we're not Brock Lesnar, this is Pokemon. And I'm looking at his legs, he did come out from a cat, so he has to have some sort of quickness at him. If he does have base 100, I can see his Pokemon going OU, straight up OU, or at least high UU, because the typing is a little funky. As a matter of fact, the typing doesn't really allow for much resistances. I mean, he does get like fairy. No, actually, no, he's neutral to fairy now because he's a dark type. So scratch that. I think he's quad foot resistant. No, he's not quad foot resistant to bug because dark is neutral. Oh my god, what do you have for resistances, dude? I mean, you're immune to psychic, so that's something that a lot of fire types can't say. So there you go, you're immune to psychic. Yeah, I think you're not going to be swapping out his Pokemon and take a hit. But you're going to be swapping him in to do... I can see it, Revenge Killer Incineroar. But I'm just speculating at this point. Still, though, Fire Dark signature move with the Darkest Lariat, not Dark Lariat. Like, I'm sorry, JBL. By the way, I'm actually naming my Incineroar Bradshaw. Just because of that, I'm just saying. But legit, I'm excited. This is a strong looking Pokemon. He went from not caring from Linton to me actually wanting to pick him as a starter Pokemon. And I always pick the grass Pokemon. So if you can contest with the grass Pokemon, you're a good mind in my book. Now, in the beginning, similar to Linton, my feelings on Popplio has changed. We have the final evolution of Popplio called Primarina. So I'm assuming it's like a ballerina and a prima donna. It's going by the names. That's my guess. The height is 5'11", same thing as Torracat, which by the way I didn't mention this, but the height of Decidueye is 5'3", so I'm taller than Decidueye. But anyway, Primarina is a water fairy type, something that a lot of people did call, especially from Popplio learning Disarming Voice, and from his Pokédex entry, looks like he'll be learning moves such as Hyper Voice as well. A lot of moves with sounds, but that makes sense because the Pokemon design just leads it to be a Siren Pokemon, or a Siren-esque Pokemon. Like, you know, even though the category is the soloist Pokemon, like it means to sing, it's a Siren. Like, they probably didn't want to go with the full category of what a Siren really is because it's still a game targeted towards kids, but still, it's just like, it's a Siren Pokemon, you know? So a lot of vocal capabilities and dancing as well, both of which Sirens use to make sailors crash their boats into the rocks that they're singing on. That's like their whole thing. Sirens are not beautiful creatures when you think about it like that. But yeah, Primarina, the Siren soloist Pokemon, and its Water Fairy, its signature move is awkward. It's called Sparkling Aria, and it sounds kind of like Hyper Beam, or at least Hyper Beam from Pokemon Go. And it's a special water type move that heals the burns of those it hits. Now, that's a really just awkward Pokemon or Pokemon move, because you have to hit it to heal the burn. And it reminds me of Smelling Salt, which is another move that Hariyama gets. You can force palm them, paralyze them, and then hit them with the Smelling Salt, get double the base power, but you heal them of the paralysis. But the entry from PokemonSunMoon.com doesn't say that it gets stronger when it heals the burn. It just heals the burn, but you also damage them. So you can't use it to target a Pokemon, but that brings in a question I had. What if a Pokemon that had Water Absorb was burned? If you use the move on them, would they just absorb the water type attack and be healed of their burn? Or would they just absorb the water type attack and still be burned? Like, is it going to be bypass that? Because if so, then that could be a little assist move in doubles. But I can't see Sparkling Aria being a strong move. I can't see it being a move at all. Like, if you wanted to actually make a tier list of it, Smogger wouldn't even include it on their Pokemon calculator because of just how awkward a move it is. You know, like, it just sounds weird. The base power, I can see it probably being like 60 or 70. Like, it doesn't sound like a strong move to me. It doesn't strike me as something that I want to use. Like, you have the signature move of Spirit Shackles that people are going to experiment with, see what you can do. And then, like I said, similar to Nuzzle, Spirit Shackles is an attack that does damage. You have the Darkest Lariat, which may be strong and ignore stat changes. Now, it's not bad, but having another physical dark type attack can never hurt you. So, if it has a good amount of base power that it can't be matched by anything else, like Night Slash or something like that, then yeah, people are going to be using Darkest Lariat. I can't see anybody using Sparkling Area. If you have any ideas for this move, let me know in the comment section below. But I can't see anything initially just by looking at it. Even thinking about it for the past hour while I was making this video or getting the notes ready to make this video, I can't think of anything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions on that as well. But the Pokédex entry, it pretty much says that it follows up more so on what Papio was doing in the second evolution. I kind of sort of really forget his name because Brian, there we go. It's Brian or Brian, however you want to pronounce it. But yeah, it follows up more on what it does. It still sings a song. It still uses balloons and as bombs, and then dances on some of them because you don't know which one is explosive and which one is not. Although this one, as a Primarina, it actually controls the balloons with its voice instead of just like jumping on or whatever. It's an okay Pokemon. It's not anything that really strikes out to me. But this does lead me into this conversation I have. A lot of people were considering like having issues with the gender of the Pokemon and whatnot. This is my take on it. There is nothing wrong with having Pokemon that are specific to a certain gender. You have Miltank and Tauros. You have Jinx, and there's no male counterpart to a Jinx, is there? So it's just Jinx. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a Pokemon that is meant to be a certain gender. Now, if you want to do anything regarding the start of Pokemon, because everyone is making these outlandish little reasons why it should be all female and whatnot, listen, there's nothing wrong with it. People like the one I hate the most is that, oh well, women are feeling cheated out, saying that it's just for men and all the Pokemon are male. Listen, Pokemon is made to be seen as you want them to. You can have a male Haxorus, you can have a female Haxorus, you can have a male or female Dragonite. That's why they have the gender opportunities out there. Now, regarding this starter Pokemon, if you guys are aware, starter Pokemon always have a 87.5% chance to be male and a 12.5% chance to be female. In this case, what you could do is flip those numbers. So it'd be an 87.5% chance to be female and a 12.5% chance to be male. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with whatever gender it may be. But if you want to make anybody happy, then I would say either do that or just consider it to be gender neutral. Like, there's no reason why this needs to be an issue. People find issues and make causes about so many things, and I feel like it's nonsensical. Pokemon is meant to be enjoyed by everybody, and it doesn't exclude anybody. When it came to second gen, like in Pokemon Crystal, they introduced the female trainers for everybody. Before it was just like, just male, but then they said, hey, look, women like playing this game. Let's give them somebody they can represent themselves with. And now with X and Y, we can represent black people or darker skinned people with the characters. So it's like, it's meant to be enjoyed by everybody. So trying to separate it by, oh, this should be all female and whatnot, it's gender neutral. Let Game Freak decide what it should be. Like, I don't hear anybody getting mad over, like, well, where's my Miltank? And then you can say, oh, it's a Tauros. Oh, well, I'll go only Tauros support. Well, that's how it is in real life. But, like, you'll never hear that. So why is this an issue? My thing is either make it gender neutral or do the idea where it has a more chance to be female. I mean, I'm fine with either of them, but, I mean, I feel like just stop making arguments about silly little things like that. Stop trying to find something to be mad about. Sorry about the conversation that's taking a little serious tone right there, but it was an opening. I had a reason to talk about it, so let's talk about it. But now let's get into the legendary Pokemon for the various islands here in Alola. Let's start off with Tapu Lele, the guardian of Akala Island, psychic fairy type. Now, before we get into this one, I feel like all of these Pokemon are following the Oricorio, where you have a fire type and a psychic type and a ghost type and an electric type. I think that they are kind of following the legendary Pokemon. Mind you, there's no ghost type in here, but the ghost type probably just goes with Tapu Bulu, but we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, Tapu Lele is psychic fairy type with the ability Psychic Surge, bringing a brand new type of field to the Pokemon meta. Psychic Surge is a field similar to grassy terrain and electric terrain and misty terrain, where it blocked priority attacks. Now, we don't know what else it boosts, because if you guys are aware of the terrains, grassy terrain weakens Earthquake, Bulldoze, and Magnitude, but raises all grass type attacks. Misty terrain cuts dragon type attacks in half, and electric terrain raises, I think it raises the speed of Pokemon with the electric terrain, I think. I'm not sure. I might look into that one. I should have looked into that while doing this video, but Tapu Koko wasn't on the list, so I didn't look into that. I apologize. But still, they all have features for the attacks. And they even changed the power of nature power. But with psychic terrain being a new terrain, we don't know what type of attack increases. We don't know what kind of moves it actually may decrease. I mean, who knows? Maybe fighting type attacks won't thrive in this environment, which will suck even more because they're already weak to psychic. Now you got to deal with the psychic terrain? Nah, U-turn right out of there. I don't know if a single fighting type can actually learn U-turn, but you turn right out of there. Vote, I don't know, do something. Just turn around, throw in the white towel. I don't know. But psychic terrain seems like it's going to be decent. And regarding Tapu Lele, it gets the move Draining Kiss. So that's really all we get to know about this, because again, we don't really know about this psychic terrain beyond anything else but it blocking priority attacks, which was shown when Alolan Eradicate went for Sucker Punch and was blocked by the psychic terrain. So no priority attacks. Wow, 7th Gen really does hate priority moves, don't they? You have Dazzling, you have that. Yeah, this is another move that happened last time, I forget, but it's pretty much just blocking priority. Now we have a terrain that blocks priority moves. God dang, what happened? Why would you hit terrain? What the? Jeez. But anyway. Tapu Lele, like I said, Psychic Fairy type, going to be pretty decent. I like the offensive typing and the defensive option that it does, because Mr. Mime is a Pokemon that's pretty decent. It's just that its defensive, its defensive options aren't really good, so it kind of falls to the wayside. But it's a pretty fast Mon, and that people really use. Tapu Lele, being a Psychic Fairy type and being a Guardian, is going to have pretty decent stats. I'm looking forward to seeing how Psychic meta does in the UU and OU meta. Now, Tapu Bulu, first of all, can we just say that 10 times over? Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu. Sounds like Shaka Zulu. Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu. I love it. I love it. It's a giant bull looking Pokemon, being a grass fairy typing. We only have a few of those, if one of those. I know that Whimsicott is a grass fairy. I'm not sure of any other ones right off the top of my head. But, I mean, if there is one, let me know in the comment section below. But this one being the Land Spirit Pokemon, sitting at a very powerful, imposing 6'3" with the ability of Grassy Surge. Now this one means that this Pokemon, I'm assuming, is going to be hitting hard, and he is going to be doing a darn thing out here with these Grass Fairy moves. Was it Grassy Surge with his ability puts the grassy terrain up, and as I said earlier, grassy terrain heals 1/16 HP each turn of every Pokemon that's affected by grassy terrain, which is any Pokemon that's actually touching the ground. So I'm assuming that Pokemon like Latios, Latios and Lugia and all of them flying types won't be affected by grassy terrain because they're not actually in there, they're flying above it. So that's sucks to be them, even though they haven't advantage over grass types still, but still it sucks to be them. But yeah, it heals HP of 1/16 by 1/16 of the match HP each turn, and makes grass moves stronger by 50%. So bring out your boy. But first of all, you have a Pokemon that can make use of this with Go-Go and Skiddo, having the unique ability Grassy Pelt that increases their defense by 50% whenever grassy terrain is on the field. So if you want to have two grass types on the field and couple grassy terrain with Go-Go, then you can do that. Tapu Bulu and Go-Go can probably do some pretty good work together, depending on, if one's playing defense and one playing offense. Have him dropping Bulldoze just to lower your opponent's speed, even though the attack would be weaker in grassy terrain, thanks to grassy terrain cutting the power of Earthquake, Bulldoze, and Magnitude in half. It will still be able to lower your opponent's speed, so that way Tapu Bulu can do his thing. Mind you, I don't know if Bulldoze can hit hits all three opponents, or if it's just the opposing. If it's just the opposing, then that's great. If it's all three, then just forget I even said that. Don't forget that Nature Power also becomes Energy Ball in this terrain. And I should mention that these Pokemon get a unique attack called Nature's Madness, an attack that slams the target. I'm reading right off the Pokédex entry, but slams the target with all of Nature's Rage, which reduces the target's HP by half. So super fang for all the legendary Pokemon. It's not bad. I mean, Nature Madness, you have Nature Power, and then you go Nature Madness, but it only cuts it in half every single time. Does it get a different typing and whatnot? I don't really know about that. They didn't really elaborate. I hope it does more than just cutting the HP in half, because it only cuts the HP in half, and I can't really see people using it unless you're going with the defensive one, which is going to be the next Tapu Guardian, but we'll get to that one just in a moment time, so he'll probably make really good use of Nature's Madness. But for Tapu Bulu, I can see him actually doing other things. I mean, you got Play Buff, you have Horn Leech, actually it gets Horn Leech, we see it in the trailer, so that's something interesting. But anyway, going back to this Pokemon though, he does get Horn Leech, and the grassy terrain is going to help him out a lot. It's going to allow him to live longer. It's going to allow him to take ground type attacks even better, because you already know the most used ground type attacks are Earthquake and Bulldoze. No one uses Magnitude because of how much of a luck roll it is, unless you're Joey Wheeler, but ain't nobody doing that. And you could also drop Dig, but let's be real here, who's really dropping Dig? Everyone just uses Earthquake. So having that cut in half when you have to deal with Tapu Bulu means that he can be a great ground pivot for you guys. So just keep that in mind. Grass Fairy typing, pretty good offensively. Does have a quad 4 weakness to poison, but I mean, avoid that and, you know, you live it. You're doing damage. Horn Leech, just live. Like, live. Do damage. This one's going to be an annoying little monkey to take out. I was going to say something else, but we got to try and keep it PG. Now, as if Water Fairy wasn't a defensive typing enough, we already have Pokemon like Azuro who can take a whole bunch of hits, and now we have Tapu Fini being pretty much a mermaid in a little shell, like a clam shell. So actually, no, it pretty much is a clam shell, because if you look at it, it looks like the inside. Yeah, it's a clam. Wow, look at that. But anyway, Tapu Fini being a Water Fairy type, 4'3", and also known as the Land Spirit Pokemon, which is weird that it's the Land Spirit, but it's a Water Fairy. But I mean, I'm not here to, you know, pull straws. But still, this Pokemon gets the ability Nature's Madness as well, the attack Nature's Madness. So same thing as before, it cuts the attack in half. I'm assuming it's all going to be normal. I don't know, but I mean, it's the same thing as the other Tapu's deck get. And we have Tapu Fini with the ability Misty Surge. Now, as if this Pokemon wasn't bulky enough with its typing, its ability puts Misty Terrain on the field, which means that it cannot be hit by status. You cannot be poisoned, you cannot be burned, you cannot be paralyzed. It also halves damage from Dragon type attacks, all Dragon type attacks. If this Pokemon knows Nature Power, its attack becomes Moonblast. Now, this is what I'm not sure, because I've never used Nature Power, so feel free to clarify for me in the comments. Does the Pokemon, if its ability turns to another attack, does it get stabbed from that? Because Nature Power will turn to Moonblast, which is a Fairy type attack, and Tapu Fini is a Fairy type Pokemon, so would it become a stab type attack form? If so, that's kind of wild, because that means Tapu Fini with Nature Power has Moonblast for 5 turns, because Misty Terrain only lasts for 5 turns, and if you want to assume that abilities like this that change the field still follow 6 gym mechanics, such as Sandstorm and Sunny Day, that this move, even though it changes terrain, won't last more than 5 turns. But still, if this Pokemon gets moves such as Calm Mind, if it gets moves such as Swords Dance or Bulk Up or whatever, you don't know what it may even get Shell Smash. You can't do nothing to it. You can't slow it down. You can't burn it. You can't cripple it, because it's protected by its own ability. You cannot poison. As a matter of fact, does this Pokemon prevent Toxic Spikes? Like, would the Misty Surge come out first, or would it get hit by Toxic Spikes and then Misty Surge? I need to see this Pokemon. I need this Pokemon now. I need it. This is going to be a really good Pokemon. Easily OU. Assuming that the stats are going to be A1, this one is easily going to be OU tier. I'm telling you. And I love this Pokemon so much because it's also pretty much a water bender. It doesn't like people. If you want to get any of its purifying water that purifies both mind and body, you got to go through the Tapu's fog. And because it had to deal with humans that were evil, it's like, no, I don't want to deal with any of y'all. Y'all suck. That's my type of water bender. That's my type of water bender. What is it? It also manipulates water. It manipulates water, so that's like the whole thing of it attacking. Not just like making water, it manipulates water. So is it able to use water gun? Is it able to, use surf and just make the water it needs, or does it need to be in a pond or whatever? So it's gonna be interesting to see how that works in the anime, because stuff like that don't really matter in the Pokemon game. Look at Goldeen and Magikarp. But still, I'm excited for this one. I'm really excited for this one. This is going to be OU, gonna be really strong defensively and offensively. Well, offensively and defensively, because defensive is how I'm just imagining it to be thriving. Laughing at dragon types, can't be poisoned or paralyzed or burned. If this thing gets shell smashed, it just might be over. It just might be over. Every single Tapu Pokemon has the same unique Z move, the Guardian of Alola. They basically become the Yellow Giant. They summon a Yellow Giant, it comes out of the ground, the Tapu goes on the head, or goes on the body as the head, and then a giant fist rise up, and then the trainer has a menacing grimace on them, and they're looking, they're like, yo, we about to kill this Pokemon, you don't even know, he's about to murder that Pokemon, and then the trainer puts his hand down and slams it on their own fist, saying this is what we need to do. And guess what the Guardian of Alola does? It destroys a Pokemon. 3 dots in the chat for the Probopass that was used as a sacrificial lamb to demonstrate this move, because that thing is obliterated. I don't know if it was a fighting type attack or a ground type attack, or maybe it was just a god-like attack, but that Probopass is dead, flattened. It's not pointing north anymore. The only place it is pointing is 6 feet under. Rip that Probopass. Shout outs to that move, although to be honest, I'm talking about that, saying that it died, but the Probopass actually lived the attack, so this move might not be that strong. But as we know from, you know, the demo for Pokemon Sun and Moon, the Z move power actually comes from the base move that you're using it from. It's like Thunderbolt makes it to where Gigavolt Havoc has a base power of 175. So maybe, just maybe, they were using a really weak attack to activate the Guardian of Alola, which also makes you wonder what type of attack it's going to be. If I had to assume, because all the Tapus are Fairy type, you have to use a Fairy type move in order to do it. So maybe you need Moonblast to use Guardian of Alola, or maybe you need like Play Rough in order to use Guardian of Alola, which they're both base 90, right? If that's the case, then that's fine. But I'm assuming it might be a Fairy type attack, just pretty much Husky. To be honest, regarding the Z moves, I'm feeling like they're going a little overboard. Everyone's getting unique moves, and everyone's getting special moves, and you only get to use it one time, and the animation is just really too much. Like, I like it, but I mean, ain't nobody going to try and deal with that, or want to deal with that in a battle. You just kind of want the attack to go out. Like, Mega Evolution is pretty quick, and then it happens once. Like, yeah, the Z move only happens once, but I mean, look at little moves like Snorlax's Pancake Plummo, or whatever it was called. So, I don't know how I feel about Z moves. We'll have to see how the meta goes. But I feel like they might be more so annoying than they will be enjoyable. I have been talking for 37 minutes. I need to finish up this video. Fortunately, these last 2 Pokemon I want to talk about in this video are really straightforward. So we have a new Pokemon being confirmed, a Psychic type named Cosmog. The ability is unaware, and fortunately, for the sake of this video, that's all we get. We don't get to know any other information. The Psychic type ability is unaware, name is Cosmog, and that's it. So, shout out to Cosmog. Yeah! But we also have Alolan Persian being officially reviewed now, or debuted now, and it's a dark type still. Its abilities are Technician, but it also gets Fur Coat. Fur Coat was the exclusive ability of Furfro. Now it gets that, and if you guys don't know what Fur Coat does, it has to damage on all physical attacks, which means that close combat we're doing 60 base power instead of 120. Vacuum Wave will have 20 base power instead of 40. So stuff like that is going to be really important, because any move that does actually touch, well, maybe not Vacuum Wave. I think Vacuum Wave might be a special attack. I don't know how that works actually. Is that a contact move? I don't know. If it is a contact move, then it'll be cut in half. There you go. But still, that's the things you got to worry about regarding this thing. Oh, I can say Mach Punch. There you go. Mach Punch is cut in half. But Fur Coat is going to be decent, means that this Pokemon is going to be living a lot more. May not be as much offensive as a normal Persian is, even though Persian being offensive is kind of like a oxymoron in and of itself. But still, we'll see how this goes. But the ability Fur Coat actually makes it pretty interesting. I'm pretty excited to see where that one goes. That is everything we have to talk about today. These Pokemon Sun and Moon news videos get so much information, and this is my longest one to date. But I had a lot to say about them. The Pokemon seem really interesting. You know what? If we have somebody who wants to talk about these Pokemon so much, you're doing a darn good thing in my opinion. I love Decidueye. I love Incineroar. Primarina is there. I love Tapu Lele. I love Tapu Bulu. I can't wait to get my hands on Tapu Fini. And of course, Tapu Koko is already my warrior self. Like, there's nothing wrong that was revealed in that 5-minute trailer. Like, there's so much. How did I turn a 5-minute trailer into a 40-minute video? God, let me get out of here. Let me know your thoughts about everything in the comment section below. And I apologize for being so long-winded, but again, I had a lot to say. If you guys enjoyed yourself, hit that subscribe button. If you like Pokemon playthroughs, I recently began Pokemon Y Nuzlocke, and another part will be going live today and every single day except Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So show your love to that project as well. Make sure y'all follow me on Twitter, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, but most importantly, stay hot, guys. I'll see y'all next time.